Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav, and today we are going to see the complete setup of iOS. So we are going to see the iOS complete setup for beginners, and I'm going to go very basic and we will go step by step. So do not worry if you are a complete beginner and you have never done iOS testing, and you can do hands-on along with me. If you face any issues, you can let me know, and you will see all the notes in the description. I will also keep a timestamp in the description timeline, so that if you want to jump to any topic you can use the timestamps. So let's get started, and before starting I have a note here that all the steps we are going to do here, all the setup for iOS testing we are going to do here in this session is for Mac OS. So we need a Mac OS system to do the iOS setup, and in case you want to do testing of iOS devices and you do not have a Mac operating system or a system with Mac OS, then you can use some cloud remote devices. Now this is a very basic question that a lot of people ask me, that I have a Windows system, can I do iOS testing? You can do iOS testing, but if you have to set up iOS testing environment on your system, then you need a Mac operating system. Okay, and in one of the earlier sessions I have also shown you how you can use some cloud platforms like BrowserStack, Sauce Lab. So if you want to use iOS devices and you do not have setup on your system, you do not have a Mac operating system, you can use those cloud devices, and in that case you will not have to do any setup on your system. Even Appium is not required and you can directly use the devices. But today we are going to do the setup on Mac operating system. So we will start by checking the requirements, what all do we need. We will then install Xcode and Xcode command line tools, and I will show you step by step how to do this setup. Then we will check, after installing Xcode we will see if we have the iOS simulators on our system, and then we will see what all simulators do we have, and then we will install Appium and appium-doctor. Now appium-doctor is optional, but it will be very handy for us to check the requirements for iOS testing environment on our system. And then we will use appium-doctor command, appium-doctor space -- iOS, to see what all dependencies we need, what is already present on our system and what all we need on our system. Okay, and then the next step will be, we will install the Appium iOS driver, that is XCUITEST, and with the latest versions of Appium, that is Appium 2 onwards, we have to separately get the drivers for our testing, whether it is Android driver or iOS drivers. So earlier we have seen we had got UI Automator driver for doing Android testing, but this time we will get the iOS driver XCUITEST, and then we will see how can we get some sample application files for testing, or how can we find the bundle ID of the already installed apps on our system on our mobile device. Then we will start Appium Inspector and run a session with Appium Inspector to verify that we are able to use our device or simulator, and we are able to connect it with Appium session, and we are able to use our application on our iOS devices or simulators. So this process, these steps will complete a process of doing the entire iOS setup and using a simulator. Then there are some additional steps we have to do if you want to use the real iOS devices, and for that we will again check the requirements that we need for setting up and using real iOS devices. Then we will install the libimobiledevice library that we need for real iOS devices. We will also see how we can install or set up WebDriverAgent. Now this is important. Now with XCUITEST, so XCUITEST driver already has a WebDriverAgent Xcode project that we have to open in Xcode and do the setup and run it and make sure that it is now available. So we will see all the steps how we do this setup, and finally we will set up our real iOS device and then use it for iOS testing. Okay, so this is what we will do. We will go very basic step by step, and this is going to be very interesting. Let's get started with the very first topic and step, that is we will check the requirements. So here for iOS testing we need a Mac OS system. So if you have to do setup on your local system, you need Mac operating system. It can be a local system or a remote machine, but it should be running a Mac operating system. Then we need Xcode. We will see the steps how to get Xcode. We will also need Xcode command line tools. Then we need Appium. When we say Appium, it is the Appium server, and then appium-doctor, which is optional, and then we need the iOS driver, the Appium iOS drivers, and we are going to use XCUITEST here. Then we need Appium Inspector. Again, this is optional, but it will be very useful and handy to create a session to see if we are able to use our device with Appium, and then we can also find the locators and create our scripts. We can record our session, get the scripts, and then we can use it in our project. I have created a very detailed session for Appium Inspector explaining each and every feature and window in the earlier part, so you can watch that if you are completely new to Appium Inspector. But here I will show you how you can get and start Appium Inspector and start a session of iOS testing. Then we will also need some application file, iOS application file, and for that we need a file with an extension .app or .ipa. So if you are using iOS simulators, then the file that you will need will have .app extension, and if you are using iOS real devices, then you will need a file having the extension .ipa. And in case you do not have the files, we can also use the bundleId or the bundle identifier of the application which is already installed on the device, and we will see that. Then we need either iOS simulator or real device to do our testing. Okay, so this is the very basic requirements we need for our iOS testing. Okay, so we have completed the first topic, checking the requirements, and now going to the second topic, we will install Xcode and Xcode command line tools. Okay, also if you see here, all the things that you see in blue here, these are optional things. So appium-doctor, Appium Inspector, all these are optional, but it will be very good and handy if we get this. So let's get started with Xcode part. So here the first thing is you will check if Xcode is already present on your system. So for that you can just go to Spotlight search. So if you see on the top of your Mac, you will see this search icon. This is Spotlight search. You can click here, or you can just press command plus space on your keyboard. It will bring up the Spotlight search, and then you can start typing Xcode, and you will see most of the times you will have Xcode on your Mac systems, but if you don't have it, we will see how to get it. You can also go to the applications folder of your Mac, and here also you can check if you have Xcode. And if you don't have Xcode, you can go and get Xcode either from the App Store, or you can get it from the Apple developer website. So let me show you first from the App Store. Just open App Store, and then you can search for Xcode, and you can see here, in my case I already have, so I am getting the option to just open it here. In case you already have Xcode and a new version is available, you will see an option to update, and if you don't have Xcode, then you will have an option to download and get Xcode in the App Store. Okay, and the other way is you can get it from the Apple developer website. So you can just search for here Xcode download, and it will take you to the Apple developer website, which is developer.apple.com Xcode, and you can see the latest version of Xcode is here. You can download it from here, and then you can get Xcode on your system. You can also go to this site, which is support Xcode, and you can see all this minimum requirements and the supported SDKs. So this is the latest version as of the time of recording this video, and here it requires minimum OS is Sonoma. So in case you do not have this one, you can see what is your operating system. So you can always go to your if you go to the top left here, Apple about this Mac, you will see this about your Mac, what is the operating system you are having. So basically you can check your operating system here, and then you can see what Xcode you can get it. Okay, also you can see there is this ARM64, ARM64E. This is for the Mac with Apple M1 M2 chips. So this also you can check. Alright, so once you have Xcode, now Xcode is a very heavy application. So in case you do not have Xcode and you are downloading it, it can take some time. It is like more than 15 GB or something, so it will take some time. So don't worry, if you don't have Xcode, you can take some time out and let it download Xcode, and after that you can open and check Xcode. So I already have Xcode now, so I will just go, you can go from applications or directly from Spotlight you can open Xcode. Okay, so you will see something like this. Now don't worry about this, I have some earlier projects. In your case it may be empty. If you are opening Xcode for the first time, you should see some Xcode window like this. Okay, you can also run this command on the terminal to check Xcode version, and then we need the Xcode command line tools. Now to get Xcode command line tools, first we will have, you can check by running this command Xcode -select-p on your terminal. Again I will go to Spotlight search and go to terminal and run command Xcode and -select-p and enter. I think it is okay, space -p, and yes, it will show you the location of Xcode command line tools. You can also say Xcode -select or --print path. This is the same command, print path. This will also show you the same output. Okay, so if you see this output, that means it is already set up and installed. And if you do not have this, you can either get the Xcode command line tools from this link, and if you have got Xcode, then you already must be having Xcode command line tools. You will just have to install the Xcode command line tools using the command Xcode -select-install. So I can say Xcode -select and -install. So you can see in my case command line tools are already installed. Okay, and here you can also use sudo Xcode select and then -s and the location of the Xcode command line tools. In case this does not work, you can use the sudo permissions and run this command. Okay, I will keep all these commands, all the notes in the description of the video, or I will keep a separate link with having all these notes. So just in case you want to copy the commands, you can also use the notes and copy the commands directly from there. Okay, so with this you should be having Xcode and Xcode command line tools on your Mac operating system. Okay, so we have completed this part. Then now we can check if we have the iOS simulators on our system. So with Xcode we also get simulators, and if you want to check iOS simulators using Xcode, you can open Xcode on your system, and then you can go to the menu, open developer tool and simulator. So if I check, I will exit from my terminal, and here I have Xcode, and if I go to Xcode open developer tool, I will go to the Xcode menu here, and we have open developer tool and we have the simulator here. So I will go to simulator, and this will open the simulator application. You can see it is here, and then here I can go and check the devices. So if I go to simulator, we have all these options. Then I go to new simulator or open simulator, and here in the file open simulator we have all these simulators already present. Okay, so you can go and click on any of the simulator and you will see it will start the iOS simulator. Okay, you can see our simulator is now here running. Okay, so you can check, and you can directly also start the simulator app on your system and check. And then we have already seen we have the option to select a simulator and open it. And if you want to use terminal, you can again open the simulator app by using open-a simulator.app1, and then you can get the list of devices using this command. So this is xcrun simctl list devices. So if I go to terminal, I will say xcrun simctl list devices. So this is the command, and if I run this, it should show me all the devices. Okay, So all this is here. This is the ID of the device, and we also will have a use of this when we run our Appium session. This ID will come in the UDID of the Appium desired capabilities. Okay, and you can see this one is already booted, iPhone 14 Pro, and that is why we are seeing here booted here. Okay, in case you want to see if you want to boot up a particular simulator, you can run this command xcrun simctl boot and give the simulator name from this list, whatever you want to boot up. And then to shut down a simulator, we have the option xcrun simctl shutdown and UDID. Here you will use this particular ID. So for example, if I want to shut down this particular simulator which is already running here, I can say I have already copied the UDID from here, and now I will say xcrun and I will say simctl shutdown, and I will give the UDID and hit enter, and this will shut down the iOS simulator. Okay, so these are the steps to check if we have iOS simulators available, and we can run all these commands and see if they are available for our testing. And then we have completed this particular step. Let us now go to the next step, that is install Appium and appium-doctor. Now in the earlier parts we have already seen how do we install Appium and appium-doctor on macOS, but I will very quickly show you. You can do it either by using Node.js, or you can first get Homebrew and then get Node and then install Appium. So first let us see the Node.js way. So just check if you have Node on your system. You can run node -v and npm -v commands, and you can see if you get a output of these commands. If you get it, that means it is already there. Otherwise, if it is not there, you can download Node.js from the Node.js website. So you can just say Node.js download, and this will take you to the Node.js website, and you can download it from here. So you will see all this Node.js, package manager, pre-built, source code, etc. So here you can select the version, then the operating system, and then you can see what do you want. If you're using Brew, you can see all the commands here, all these options you can check here, or you can directly get the installer file. And otherwise, if you have Homebrew on your system, you can check by saying brew -- version, and if you have Homebrew on your system, then you can directly use this command. So this is the command to get Homebrew. If you do not have it, let me also very quickly show you. If you go to Homebrew and you want to get it, you can just use this command, copy this command, run on your terminal, and you will have Homebrew. And then using Homebrew you can get other libraries like Node. So you can say brew install Node, and you will get Node on your system. So basically we need Node on our system. So after getting, just check these commands, node -v and npm -v, and you should have this here. Okay, after installing, you can use a new terminal window and then run these commands, and then check if you have Node on your system. And then after getting Node.js, we will now get Appium. So you can check if Appium is already installed, appium-v or appium--- version, and if it is there, it's good. Otherwise you can get by using the command appium install -g appium@latest or @ any particular version that you want. Okay, and we know that with Appium 2 we do not get the driver along with Appium server. We only get the Appium server, and the drivers we will have to install separately, and that we will see. Okay, so you can say npm install -g and appium@latest. And in case any of these command is not working, you can put sudo at the start of the command and then try. If you have the sudo access on your system, admin access, you can run you can say sudo and then space and the rest of the command. Okay, so this is done, and then you can say appium space hyphen hyphen version or appium space hyphen v to check the appium version, and then you can also say which appium to see the location of appium, and we have got this installed. Okay, now you can run the command appium to start the appium server. So we have also seen in the initial session that using appium command we can run the appium server, and then there are a lot of flag options. So for example, if we have to say to allow cross origin resource sharing, we say allow CORS, and this will be handy if your application is on a different resource, or in case we want to use Appium Inspector browser version, again we will use that flag. Otherwise you can just say appium and run it, and you should see it starts appium on this particular port and IP. Okay, let me very quickly show you. In the very first session of appium basic setup on Windows and Mac operating system, we have seen this, that we can start appium by using appium or appium with a flag, and all these flag options also we have seen. We can say allow CORS, or we can say hyphen hyphen address and give a different IP. We can change the port, we can use session override, and all these options we can use with the appium command. So this is the complete table which I have in this notes in this document. You can always refer it from here. Okay, now the next optional thing we need is appium-doctor. So you can say press Ctrl C to stop appium server, or you can use a new tab or a new window of terminal. So as of now I have stopped it, and then you can say npm install -g appium-doctor, npm install -g appium-doctor, and this will install appium-doctor on the system. And appium-doctor will be very handy to check our requirements for any type of testing we want to do with appium, like iOS or Android. You can see a complete list of commands with the appium-doctor. So let us wait and let's okay, so I think this is okay. Let me check. If I say appium-doctor -v, yeah, I think we have options. I can say hyphen version, and then if I say -help, I can see all the options I can use. So I can say -iOS, -Android, dev, debug, etc. So now if I say appium-doctor -iOS, let us see if it will check for our system for all the dependencies we need for iOS testing. So it says appium home is already set to this users raghavpal.appium, node.js is there, node version, Xcode is installed, Xcode command line tools are also installed, and all this is set. And then so that means all the necessary dependencies are already present. Then there are some optional dependencies like ffmpeg, and all these are optional. And here it also says like iOS deploy is there, all these are optional. ffmpeg is needed to record screen features, and it has also given us a link if you want to check more. Then this is their iOS deploy is used to as a fallback command to install iOS applications on real devices. So if you want these, we can get them, but as of now we need to check the necessary dependencies, which are these, and we have all them set up on this particular system. Okay, so with this we are able to install appium and appium-doctor. And now we have done this particular topic. The next topic, check what is missing on your system by running the command appium-doctor -iOS. This we have already seen. This is the command appium-doctor -iOS, and you can use this and check if anything is missing on your system. Okay, and here let me exit it from here, open a new terminal, and I'm pressing the up arrow to go to the last command, appium-doctor -iOS. So when I run this command, you can see this appium home is set automatically. Otherwise, if you want, you can also go to your environment variables and set appium home to where your .apm folder is. If I go to the Finder and I'm pressing Command Shift and G key on my keyboard, so that I bring up this search where I am going to users and my user, and here you can see, if you don't see .apm, you can press Command and dot on your keyboard, Command Shift dot, and you will see all the hidden folders after you press Command Shift and dot. And here you can see I have got .apm folder here. Also in this folder, once we install the drivers, you will get folders for driver as well, but as of now we just need to check that our basic dependencies, the necessary dependencies, are all fine. If you do not find any of this is not satisfied, you can check and set it up and then again run this command to check everything is fine. Okay, so we have checked this. Now the next is we will install the Appium iOS driver XCUITEST. So here on the terminal we will run the command to install the XCUITEST driver, but before that you can also check the requirements for the Xcode and iOS version for your XCUITEST driver on this link. So if you go to this link here, you can see you can first go at the top and change the version to the version of XCUITEST driver that you need. As of now the latest one is 7.15 and this one is for latest, and here you can see all these dependencies and the Xcode iOS version. So if you are using Xcode 15, iOS 17, then the minimum required XCUITEST driver version should be 4.3.5, 4.35.0. Then for this you can check all these versions and what should be the minimum required version of XCUITEST driver, and you can also see Xcode versions, iOS versions, all that is supported for that particular version of XCUITEST driver. But in any case we are going to get the latest one. So here we will first check, I will go to the terminal and say Appium driver list. This will show us all the drivers that we have. Now in my case I had this installed earlier in the earlier sessions, but otherwise you can say Appium driver install XCUITEST. So if I say Appium driver install, and this is what we need, XCUITEST. So anyways, if I install it again it will update it, or I can also use a separate command to update it. So let me say XCUITEST, and you can see a driver is already installed. Do you mean to update? And if yes, then we can run Appium driver update for this particular driver. Okay, so I will say Appium driver list -- updates, and it will list the available driver and it will show us which is available for updates. So here for XCUITEST I have 7.14.0 installed and 7.15.3 is available. So if I want, I can get the latest one. So I will say, so if I say Appium driver install XCUITEST, it says it is already there. So I will have to say Appium driver update XCUITEST, and this will update to the latest version. I can also give a specific version, so I can say Appium driver install XCUITEST at the rate and give the version number, but in this particular case it will install and update the latest version of that particular driver. Okay, so some issue, let me check. If I check Appium driver list, if I use this command with the root permission using sudo, I will have to give my system password, and then I can check again if it installs this way. And Yes, looks like this is done now. If I check Appium driver list, now I have got the latest version of this driver. Alright, so this is how you can install the latest version. Okay, now with the XCUITEST driver, we also get the WebDriverAgent, which is not required now, but just for information, once you get this XCUITEST driver, if you go to the location, which is your Appium home directory, which is in my case users Raghav Pal, and then if I go to node modules, or no, this is .appium. So basically your Appium home folder, which is .appium, if you go here and then if you go to the node modules of this folder, and you will find a folder for this particular driver that we have got. Inside this driver you will again see a node modules folder, and then in this node modules folder you will see a Appium WebDriverAgent folder, which will have this WebDriverAgent.xcode project file. So this we will need when we are setting up iOS real device. We can set it up using here, and we will not have to install WebDriverAgent separately. So this is just for information that you will also get this, which we will see later on. For simulators, it is already all the things are already set. We don't have to do any further steps. And this also you can check this documentation. So whatever version of Appium XCUITEST driver you are using, you can go to this documentation and change the version from here, like whatever you are using, whether you are using 7.14 or 15 or any other. If you are using, change it from here, and then you can see all the overview, installation steps, system requirements. If you are using a real iOS device, you can see the device preparation here, real device configuration and preparation. So based on the driver you are using, the version of the XCUITEST driver you are using, you can always check this documentation and set up your real device in case you are using it. But for now we don't need this. I am showing you this because if anything changes in future, you can always get the latest things from this documentation. Okay, all right, so we have seen this, we have installed the Appium XCUITEST driver, so we have done this. Now next is to test on our iOS devices. We need some application, and for that we need either a .app file or a .ipa file. If you want to use iOS simulators, we will need a .app file. If you are using iOS real devices, we will need a .ipa file, or we can also use the bundle ID of the application which is already installed on the device. So here we have some sample files here, sample application files that we can get from these links. So here let me show you. I'll close this or exit from here. So this is the link from Appium itself, and it has some sample for both Android and iOS. Now these files I am showing you in case you want to use some sample demo files for your testing. In case you already have your own applications and your own files or bundle ID, if you already have it, you can use them. This is just for the demo purpose if you want to see. So this is the link for the Appium demo files. So you can see we have this for APKs for Android, and this app is for iOS. You can go here and then go to the download here, and then click on download, and this will download the zip file, and then you can unzip it and get the application files. Similarly, the next one is from Sauce Labs, and then we have again this has Android and iOS. Then we have some more links, so I will show you all this. So this is from Sauce Labs. You can see all these different files are here. This is for iOS real device, iOS simulator, app file and IPA file. So you can check all these applications. Okay, then again this one here we have some sample files. This is for iOS simulator file. This is the application. This is WebDriver IO application. Then this one is here, my demo app. Again you can see some sample files here. This is for real device, this is for iOS simulator, and then this also has some files both for Android and iOS, so you can get it from here. Okay, so these are all the different files you can use, and then we can also use a already installed app for testing, and in that case we will need a bundle ID of that app. And for getting the bundle ID, you can either get it from the app file or the IPA file. In that case you can run this command osa script -e ID of the app, or you can give the path of the application file, that is the .app file, and you will get the bundle ID. So if I just show you, I have some sample app files. Let me go and check. Yes, I have this. Let's say this is the test app, this is a .app file, and if I do a right click and say get info, to get this info you can also just press and say command shift and I on your keyboard, or I think it is yeah, it is command and I key, you will get the info. So you can see this is a application file and its complete name is testapp.app. okay, and if I get this location of this app from here, so I will copy the location and then I will open the terminal, and here this is the location I have copied. So also I will have to say the file name, which is testapp.app, and then I'm pressing Ctrl A to go to the start of this command, and I will say os script -e, and okay, some issue, let me see, I can try using quotes here. Okay, some syntax error, let me check. Okay, I think I made a mistake. It is the complete is osa script -e and ID of the app, and then I have to give the file path. So I will say osa script -e ID of the app, and now I will have to use the file path, which is this here, and then I have to give a closing double quotes and also a closing single quote. And yes, now I can get the bundle ID of this particular app, and otherwise you can also get it directly from the installed apps also. Okay, so this is a Stack Overflow article that can be very handy, how to get bundle ID of iOS app either using the IP file or app installed on phone. So you can see if you have the app installed on phone, how to get it from that app, or if you have the file, the IPA file or the app file, then you can directly use, as I have shown you in the command. Okay, so you can check this, it can be very useful. Okay, so we have got this. Now for real device, you can install the app using the IPA file. So you should have the IPA file, or you can get a sample IPA file and then get the file for using for your demo. And you can also go, once you have the IPA file, you can go to Xcode window device and simulators. So let me show you. If I go to Xcode and I go to here window, and we have devices and simulators here. So once you connect your device, you should see your device here. So as of now I can see the simulators, and as of now I have not connected any real device. Otherwise, once you connect a real device, you will also see the devices here, and then in that device list you can select your device, you can click on the add button and browse your IPA file and install it on the device. So once it is installed, it should appear in the installed apps section, and in that way you will also have the application installed on your real device. So these are the different options I am showing you. In case you want to use a real device, you can do it this way as well. Okay, so with this we have done this particular topic. Now let us go and run a session of Appium Inspector and see if we are able to connect to our device and start our application. So here we can open Appium Inspector browser version, or we can also use a desktop app. So if you go to Appium Inspector, and you will see this GitHub page of Appium Inspector. Here, if you want, you can go to this get started documentation, and here you can see the releases and how you will install it. So here you can see all the options, the different options, and then you can install it. Otherwise, you can directly go and use the browser version of Appium Inspector. So this is the browser version, so you can directly open it in your browser. Okay, so it's your wish. I had a very detailed session on this in the earlier part, so if you see this setup and start Appium Inspector, I had shown each and every detail here, and then in this particular session we have discussed each and every screen of Appium Inspector, so you can watch that. And for now I will just open Appium Inspector. Let me exit from here, and I'll close all this, and I have a desktop Appium Inspector. I will just start Appium Inspector on my system. Okay, so this will start the session. Okay, now here once you have started, we will now start Appium run using the command Appium, or if you are using the browser version of Appium Inspector, then please add the flag allow cors with your Appium command. So I will go to my terminal. So in my case, because I am using the desktop version, I can just run Appium command. If you are using the browser version of Appium Inspector, also add -- allow cors, that is cross origin resource sharing. So let me also just run this using allow cors, and you can see we have got Appium Inspector, Appium running on this particular IPN port, which is the default IPN port, and in Appium Inspector you can give the same IPN port. So by default it will take the default IPN port. Okay, we also have the advanced settings. In case you want to allow any certificates or use proxy, you can use this. Okay, now we will add the desired capabilities of our device or simulator that we have connected with our system and started on our system. So let us see. I will go to simulators, and here I will open a simulator. Let us say I will open maybe iPhone 14. I'll open it, and now I will need to give the details of this device, like the device name, the UDID, in the desired capabilities. So here in Appium Inspector you can see this is the, you can go to the desired capabilities section and make sure that you have Appium server selected here. So we also have option for using Source Labs, Browser Stack, and a lot of other cloud providers. So I had a session on Browser Stack also earlier, where I have shown you how you can get a device from Browser Stack and directly use it, but for now we are using Appium server. And here you will add the desired capabilities as name value pairs, or we can also give a JSON file which will be shown here. So here this is how it will look like. We can have a JSON file, and then we can see all these key value pairs. So in my case I had saved a capability earlier for, I think this was the one, and yes, so you can give it like this. So you can give it like this, which will have automation name, platform version, device name, and the app. I think this was for Android. Let me check if I have something for iOS already present. Yes, this looks like is for iOS. So here we have platform, iOS, automation name XCUITEST, device name iPhone simulator, platform version 14, UDID is the ID of the device, and then the app, location of the application file, or you can also use bundleId. Okay, so here once you have started your simulator, to get the details like the UDID or the platform version, you can use these commands. So you can say here on your terminal I will open my terminal, and I can open a new window of the terminal or press Command T to go to a new tab, and then I will run this command xcrun simctl list, and I only want to get the booted simulator details, so I'm using this egrep booted, and I can see this is the UDID, so I can copy this UDID and give it here in the UDID. Okay, and also you can see this prefix Appium. Even if you don't add this, and you can check this automatically, add the necessary Appium vendor prefixes on start, so it will take care of that. And then the platform version, so platform version is I think 14, so should be fine. Okay, so this we have got, or you can use this command xcrun xctrace list devices. So I can say xcrun xctrace list devices, and this should show me all the list of devices, and I can see the, so in our case the one that we are using is this one, I believe. Let me confirm. Yes, this is the one, F777, which was booted. So yeah, this is the one, and in this case the platform version is 16.4. okay, so you can use this command and give it here. This is 16.4. so this is the iOS version. Okay, and then you can also see this XCUITEST driver link to see all the different capabilities you can give. So these are the different capabilities. We can also give the bundle ID or app path. So for the app path, I have already given my test app.app path. Okay, so if I go to this device preparation, and I think there should be desired capabilities somewhere. Let me confirm this, where it is. So here, yeah, if I go to references, and we have the capabilities here. Okay, so you can see all the different capabilities. These are the general capabilities: platform, browser name, device name, UDID, etc. Then app specific capabilities, bundle ID, and the orientation of the app. All this is here. Then you can check the WebDriverAgent related capabilities if you want to give any of the WebDriverAgent capabilities. Simulator related capabilities like orientation of the simulator, whether it is should be landscape or portrait, scale factor, hardware, software things. Then web context, if you have a web context of your application, you can check all this. Then all the other capabilities are here, so you can always check this list. And then once we have the desired capabilities added, we can start the session and check. So I have added all this. Now I have also given this, my Appium server is already running. I'll click on start session, and let us see what happens. So this should start the session. It should also start that particular application on my iOS device or simulator, and should show a session on Appium Inspector. So it will take some time. You can also just check the Appium logs on the terminal where you have started Appium. So you can see it is running some things here. Sometimes if it is the port or the IP issue, you can always change the port and IP and then start. I think it is starting now. Let us see, and yes, it has started the application on the iOS device here, and we can see the device view here, and along with that we can also see the complete app source here. we can now find the device, the application elements, and then do all these actions, tap, send keys, we can do recording and all these things. So I'm not going into the details of all the things we can do with Appium Inspector because there is already a session on that, but yes, we are able to start our session, Appium session, using Appium Inspector. And with this we are able to complete the steps for our iOS simulator. Now we have some extra steps, some additional steps if you want to use a real iOS device, and for that we will first see what are the requirements. So here these are the things that we have already seen. These are common both for iOS and real devices. We need a Mac operating system, we need Xcode command line tools, we need appium-doctor also, which is optional. Then we need a iOS driver, XCUITEST, Appium Inspector is optional, and then we need the application file, or we can use a bundleId. Now for a real iOS device we need a library called libimobiledevice. I will show you what does it do and how to get it. We also need to set up WebDriverAgent. We also need a Apple developer account, and then we will need a iOS real device along with a cable to attach it to our system. So these are the requirements for some additional requirements if you want to use a real iOS device. Okay, so we have checked the requirements. Let us now see how do we install libimobiledevice library. So here you can directly use brew to say brew install libimobiledevice. So I will go, let me close this session, and I will also stop Appium by pressing Ctrl C on this terminal, and I will clear the screen. And let me just say I have brew installed, so I will say brew install libimobiledevice and hit enter. So it is updating brew and then it will do the installation. Okay, so it is getting all the required libraries. And this is done and everything is okay. And this library allows Appium to communicate directly with the iOS device over this USB MUXT. So once we connect our real device using a USB cable with our system, then this library, that is libimobiledevice, will allow Appium to communicate with our iOS device. Okay, and if you want, you can take your real device, plug in your iOS device to your system. If you get a prompt to allow this connection, you can allow it, and then if you run this command iDeviceInfo, this will show you the details about your device, and it will also show you the output for this particular library, and that means it is successfully installed. Okay, so with this we have done this particular installation, and as of now we don't need to do anything else. It should just be there on our system installed. Now the next thing is we will install or set up WebDriverAgent. Now as I told you some time back that with XCUITEST driver we already get a WebDriverAgent Xcode project and we have to set it up. So here this particular agent bridges it acts as a bridge between Appium and the device, and it helps us to perform the different actions that we do on our real device like tapping, swiping, etc. And with the XCUITEST driver we already get this in our XCUITEST folder. So here we will not have to separately install it, and we can directly go there and do the setup. So here we will check the real device configuration. You can go to the XCUITEST driver page, which I had shown you earlier as well. So if you just go to Appium XCUITEST, okay, go to the device preparation, make sure that you change the version of XCUITEST based on whatever version you are using, and here you can see the device preparation where we have all these things, real devices, and then real device configuration, and you can see all the things you will have to do with this particular WebDriver agent for using your real device. Okay, and here I will show you the steps. So first we will go to the directory where we have our Appium WebDriver agent, which is in our XCUITEST driver folder. So if I go to my folder, I'll just stop all this and close all these things for now. I will go to my folder and I'm going to my user and .appium and node modules, and here you will see a folder Appium XCUITEST. Okay, and in this folder, so you can see this is my users folder, then .appium, which is a hidden folder. So if you do not see this, you can press Command Shift and dot key on your keyboard to see all the hidden folders and files. And then under this you will see node modules, then Appium XCUITEST driver, and then here inside this you will again see a node modules folder, and then inside this you will see a Appium WebDriver agent folder, and then inside this you will see this file WebDriverAgent.xcode project file. Okay, this is what we will have to open. So you can see this is on my system. This is what we will open in Xcode. So you can directly go to this file, do a right click and say open with Xcode. So it will open Xcode and open this particular project. Okay, so you can unlock it if it is locked, and then you can go to Xcode preferences accounts and add your Apple ID. Let me see Xcode. You can go to settings or preferences, and here you will see we have got accounts, and you can click on plus to add your Apple ID, and if you don't have Apple ID you can create it and then add it. Okay, I am always getting this, so I will have to change the permission of this project. So you can go to this project file and either do a right click and get info, or just press Command I and go to the section where we have, okay, this is, yeah, go to sharing and permissions, and here I should have read write, so this I will change to read and write. Okay, I will have to check this system has read and write, or I will go to the terminal and say chmod u+w, and I will just get this. Okay, so if I check this now, I think should be fine. So you can get your Apple ID here, and in case you do not have a Apple developer account, you can create your Apple developer account and then give your Apple ID here. Okay, let me just close Xcode for now. I will first just go here and I will unlock this. It will ask for my system password, and now if I change this to read and write, it should work. Yeah, I think now this is fine. it was not unlocked, and that's why it was not taking the permission. I think now it should be good. I will again open this file in this project with Xcode. And now you can go to Xcode settings, and it is still saying no, could not be unlocked. Go to accounts and let me check this. Now this unlock issue was not coming with the earlier version of XCUITEST, so maybe let me see Appium driver list, and if I check, this is the latest version. If I say Appium driver install XCUITEST, and I will say 7.14 version. Okay, yeah, so I will say or I will say Appium driver. I'll clear this and I will say Appium driver uninstall XCUITEST, and this should uninstall the XCUITEST driver. And I think I'll have to quit Xcode because it is being used here, and I can also use this with a sudo permission. And yes, now this is done. If I say Appium driver list, and now I will say Appium driver install XCUITEST, and I will say 7.14. And you can see, I think one of the reasons is if we see the installation part where we check the system requirements, we had this, right? We had this different requirements. So minimum required XCUITEST driver version, this is for Xcode 15 and iOS 17. So you can see all this is here. So let me see now. If I see Appium driver list, okay, I will also have to check which is the version available. If I check the XCUITEST versions, it will take me to this releases page of GitHub of XCUITEST. So this is the latest one that we were trying to use, and let me try with 7.14.0. so I will say Appium driver install XCUITEST 7.14.0, and I have also used sudo command, so we should be able to get it now. And yes, now I think it is here. It is installed now. Now I will again go back to the folder .appium node modules, and then here I will say I will go to this Appium XCUITEST driver. Then again I will go to the node modules, and here I will see the Appium WebDriverAgent, and here is my Appium WebDriverAgent Xcode project. Okay, I will try to open it with Xcode. Okay, it is here. Again, let me try to unlock this. Okay, looks like now it is fine. So one thing that I missed last time is, after I went to this file and pressed Command I to go to the information, and then went to the permissions, and I opened this lock and then changed these permissions to read and write. I forgot to again close the lock so that it could not be changed by any external process. So you will, after changing the permissions, also close this lock back again and then open it again in Xcode, and looks like now this is fine. So now I will go to Xcode and settings, and you can go to accounts and add your Apple ID here. So I will click on add Apple ID. Okay, so after this we will go to our project, and we have to see WebDriverAgent lib and WebDriverAgent runner targets. So you will see WebDriverAgent lib is here and WebDriverAgent runner. These are the two targets we will focus on. And then once you go here, so go to the project. So I have clicked on the project main folder. Go to signing and capabilities, and for WebDriverAgent lib and WebDriverAgent runner, for both, make sure that we have automatically manage sign-ins. Okay, so we will enable automatically manage sign-ins, and then also you can select your developer team here. So I think again the same thing, yeah, should be fine. And then here also you can select your team here. And if you see this failed to register bundle ID and no profiles, you can go to the here build settings, and you will find this product bundle identifier here. You can change it to some different value. So by default it is com.facebook. I will say com.raghav123 or something, and then you can come back here, signing in capabilities, and this should be fine. Okay, so you can do that, and this is what I have also mentioned here as well, that if you face this issue, you can change the product bundle identifier by going to the build settings tab. Okay, and then you can come back to the general tab, and then it should be done. And then go to clean build and run. So here I will go to, you can go to product, and I will say build, and you will see this is building and it says build succeeded. Okay, so I can say clean build folder, clean succeeded, and build is done. Okay, so this prepares our WebDriverAgent, and then we can choose the real iOS device or simulator that we want, and then we can also run this as a target. So here if you see, we already have an integration app in this. So if you go to products folder, you will see there is a integration app. So this is a demo app already present, and you can go here, go to integration app and select your device or simulator, or you can first go to let us say WebDriverAgent runner, select a device or simulator from here. It will also show you, if you have connected a real device, it will also show you in this list. Okay, and then you can click on this run button and check. It should run this on your device. So you can see this is in progress, building. So it says build succeeded. Same thing you can also do with WebDriver lib, and then finally integration app. You can select the integration app and the target to whatever device you want. Let's say I will take iPhone 14 Pro, and then click on the run button. So you will see it will open the device or simulator, and it will try to start the app there. So the first time it can take some time. So you can see it is now up and running here. So we have our app up and running on this particular device. In this case it is a simulator, but it can be a real device as well. Okay, so we have already seen this. You can also go and say product test. So I can go here on Xcode and I can go product and I can run a test as well here. So as of now it is already running, so you can try this and it should work fine. Okay, so now we have set up WebDriverAgent, and now we are ready to automate our iOS apps on real devices and do testing on real devices. So this is done. Now we will see how do we set up the real iOS device. So for that, you can connect your iOS device, whether it is an iPhone, iPad, whatever it is. You can connect it with your system, with your Mac operating system, using its cable or USB cable. Make sure it is unlocked and it is on the same Wi-Fi network as your Mac. And then after that you have to do some setup. So let me first just close Xcode for now, and I will stop this running test. And let me also just exit from my terminal and all these open windows. I have my Xcode here, and I will go to Windows and Device and Simulators, and here you should have, once you have connected, you should see your devices here. For now, let me just go and try to, I will go to the simulator app. I'll go to Xcode Open Developer Tools Simulator, and then here I will go to the file Open Simulator, and I will open a simulator for now. Now as of now I don't have an iPhone real device handy, so I'm showing you this. I will show you all the steps. So once you go to settings, and you can say general and about, on your device you will find something like software version or build number. You can tap on that particular setting or that particular field until you get a prompt that you are a developer, and that will enable the developer on your system. So on your particular device you will become a developer, or it will enable the developer mode. And then after you connect your device to the computer or the system that has Mac OS, if you see a prompt to allow the connection, you can tap on it and allow it, and then you will have to get the desired capabilities for your iOS device. The same way as we have seen for our simulators, you will now need to get the capabilities of your device, where UDID and the device name and the platform version are the important things. So the UDID is the ID which uniquely identifies your device, and you can get the UDID by going to third-party tools like iTunes or iMazing. There is also a command that I will show you. In the same way, we need the bundle ID of your app. So here you can get a library called iDevice installer. You can go to your terminal and say brew install iDevice installer and get this library, and using the commands from this we can get the details about our device and the application. Okay, so this is done, and now I can say iDevice -id -l iDevice, and I can say here _id -l. So this will show me the device ID or the UDID of the physical connected device. As of now I don't have it. You will also find your device under the devices list here in your Xcode. When you go to Xcode and go to window and go to devices and simulators, this window opens up and you should also find your device here. And once you go to your device, you can get the UDID from that particular device also. So for example, if you see, this is my iPhone 14 Plus which is open, and if I go here I can see the ID here, that is the UD ID, so I can copy it from here, or you can directly get it from this command. Okay, similarly this command will get us the device name. Okay, this command will show you the platform version. Also you can see the platform version on your devices list here from Xcode. This is 16.4 in my case. And then using this command iDevice installer -l, this will list all the apps connected on that particular device along with their bundle ID. So you can get bundle ID of the app, the UD ID of the device, the name of the device, the platform version with all these options. Okay, and then once you have got all these options, you can go to Appium Inspector. So go to Appium Inspector and then go to the desired capabilities, and then you can update them here, like the device name, the platform version, the UD ID, the application file or the bundle ID. You can change it here, and then you can start the session and see if everything is running fine. You should see a session of Appium with that particular device and application. Okay, so with this we have completed the setup of real iOS device, and with this we have completed all these sections. I hope this was very useful. If you have any questions, you can let me know. If you face any issues, you can let me know in the comment section, or you want to send me any message, please use the comment section. I will reply to all of you, and I will see you soon. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.